Hello, and welcome to Database Applications, where we build some websites backed by databases with Django. It's winter 2025, and wow, this semester is starting out plenty cold. I'm your professor, Charles Severance, and I'd like to welcome you to the class. My goals for this course are it's as if I just hired you, and we are a Django shop. We build Django applications. We deploy our content through Django, and I want you to be a good Django developer, and we've got 15 weeks in which to do it. And I try to teach you as much as I can in these 15 weeks so that you'll be a valuable employee at the end of the 15 weeks. So a little bit about me. I have two tattoos. One is my education and teaching career. I have 3 degrees in computer science from Michigan State University, and my faculty position is in the School of Information at the University of Michigan. And little diagram is the World Wide Web. That's kind of been the backdrop of my entire educational and professional career. On the other side, I have my research. My research is educational technology. I founded a learning management system project called Sakai, which is a competitor to Canvas and Moodle and Blackboard and Desire to Learn in the marketplace. I also have worked with Coursera. This tattoo is what I call the IMS Learning Tools Interoperability Ring of Compliance, and it celebrates the learning management systems that supported a protocol for integration that I invented called Learning Tools Interoperability. So if you look on there, you'll see IMS, which is the standards organization, Blackboard, Sakai, Moodle, Canvas. Now, it's not the real Canvas logo currently because I got this tattoo and then they changed their logo, but they don't understand how tattoos work apparently when they change their logo. You may have also heard about me from Coursera or edX or Free Code Camp. I take the courses that I build on campus and I also share them with the rest of the world using as open and free resources. Python for Everybody, which came out in 2014. It's about 10 years old now. It is the most popular programming course in the world with over 3 million graduates. This course is also available in an online abbreviated form called Django for Everybody on Coursera. And the course that I taught before this, which was a PHP version of building web applications, I also have on Coursera as Web Applications for Everybody. And my most recent course that I built was C Programming for Everybody, where I try to take people, even those people who already know C, and put C in a historical context, relate C to Python, and if you're a Python programmer, make you a better Python programmer by understanding the relationship between C and Python. I have some hobbies. One of my hobbies is car racing. I field a racing team and sponsor it. It's endurance racing, 16 hours over 2 days. We have a team of 5 racers that race, 1.5 to 3 hours each. It's really fun. I am not a very good driver. We have people on our team that are way better than me, but it's okay. I just love driving a car fast and driving it around a track and not getting a speeding ticket. My other hobby is another fast hobby. It's hockey. I play hockey twice a week. And I sponsor the team with a Sakai jersey, and I play. I'm like in racing. I'm not the greatest hockey player ever. I just love it, and I love being with people and being part of a team, and so I'm one of the weaker players on this team, but they still pass to me because once you get up to a certain age in hockey, you don't take it so seriously, and everyone tries to get everybody to score, so that's a lot of fun. And my other hobby is flying small airplanes, which I have done since the 1970s. I love flying airplanes. It requires a lot of focus. It really exercises the engineering side of my brain, and it just is really cool to be able to start an engine and take off into the sky, fly around, and then come back down and land and put the plane away. And it's been a joy and a privilege for me to do that. This course is a hybrid format. What does that mean? It really means that we can register more students than we have room for in the room. So that's what hybrid is. So what I've done is, because all of my materials that matter in this course are already online, you can view them. They're short and to the point. I decided to flip the Friday lectures and not give any slides, not record them, treat them as like gigantic 2 or 4 hour office hours. But the other thing that you do in the normal lecture, in addition to flipping slides about the course content, is to explain like what's going to happen in the exam next week, or which assignment is the hardest assignment of next week, or how to think about the lectures for next week. And I give that to you in a video. And this is the first example. This one will probably be a little more than 30 minutes, but most of the time they're less than 30 minutes, but they're required viewing, and I track your viewing, and you get a grade for viewing them, okay? And you got to watch them all. You can watch them fast, but you can't not watch them. Discussions are also hybrid with a combination of in-person and Zoom. Required in-person attendance is rare and will be called out and treated specially. So why do this? Well, first is the demand for this course is amazingly high, both inside the School of Information and outside the School of Information. And we love to share these courses with students that aren't just SI students. And so that allows us to meet that demand. We've always had very large waiting lists. And the hybrid makes it so that I can let everyone in the class. I just hate not letting students in class. We make you take all these classes and then we don't give you space in them. So hybrid lets me give you space in the class. I also think of it as an experiment in how we can do all of this more efficiently. This is not every class can be hybrid. Some classes do need face-to-face. But this class is a competency class. You are supposed to gain a set of skills during this semester in Django, databases, HTML, CSS. And literally, you don't have to come into a room to gain these skills. As long as you focus, do your work, watch the lectures, and do the homework, you will learn. It's impressive how much students learn. And what I want you to do is I want you to learn most efficiently. If the only way for you to get this material was to come to North Quad every Friday for 2 hours, especially in the cold, it might take you an hour to get there. You may sit there for 2 hours and take you an hour to get back, and you just use up 4 hours of your life. And I think that's inefficient. Now, again, some courses need to be in person, and those should be in person, but a course that doesn't need to be in person shouldn't be in person. So, I mentioned that most of this is attendance optional. There is one midterm. It's 2 hours long. It's on paper. It's closed book, closed notes, no internet, no AI. You get 1 page, a cheat sheet, but physical attendance is required, and we'll announce where and when and all that later in the class. The final exam, I'm a big fan of not having final exams be face-to-face because you all want to go somewhere, whether it's your internship or to meet your family or just start your summer a little early. So I give you the final exam online. You have 5 days to take it. You can start it, you can stop it. It's a coding thing. It's open book, open notes, open AI, everything. It's auto-graded with unlimited tries. So it's the midterm is the hardest part of this class. You're supposed to know Python well before you take this class. I talk about HTML, I talk about CSS, I talked about object orientation, but I never talk about Python. If you took one Python class and you barely passed it, you will find the first 6 weeks of this class very, very challenging. So know, and there are things you can do to go back and improve your Python, but don't take this class if you're barely competent in Python. I talk a lot about not falling behind, and one of the ways I do that is an assignment late policy, 10% per day. You know, you can get 3 days late, 7 out of 10. It's not too bad. It's basically designed so that you don't fall behind, and so that when you do fall behind, you see consequences for that, so that you can say, you know, I'm not going to do that later. I really want you to start your homework early and finish it early, and then go do all your other classes. AI. It's okay. I'll talk more about that later, but you have to be very wary and careful. Just using AI to get your homework done is a bad mistake in this class. Using AI to help you learn is great. The same goes for help from other people. Working together is really important, but you also have to be learning when you're doing that. If you just have someone do your homework, you're not learning anything. Or if you just ask them a million questions and they give you the code one line at a time, you're not learning anything. And so you got to, whether you're using AI or working with other people, you got to take responsibility for learning the material. Each week has about 1.5 hours of recorded lectures and about 30 minutes of recorded me talking to you about the week. There are quizzes. You get to take them multiple times, not too many times. You have to wait to retake them. The quizzes are very much taken from the lecture material. You're going to have one or more auto-graded coding assignments. You may have heard about auto-grading from other classes or other schools. My auto-graders are designed to be as helpful as they can be. That doesn't mean they're trivial. That means that they're not trying to make it extra hard. All you need to do is do your homework, get your code working, send it to the autograder, and you'll get 100%. It doesn't play games with you. So discussion sections are also attendance optional. Some of them may have slides, like maybe review for exam or something. There might be some one-to-one assistance, like office hours, or the GSA may decide to talk about some of the material in more depth. These are your benefit. They're usually like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. The homework is due on Friday. We want to give you multiple days to have access to help, so that to encourage you to start early on your homework and get it done on time. Attendance is optional, but it's up to you to keep up with the material. If you're feeling challenged in the material, then you should be coming to discussion. Because don't skip it and then say, well, I skipped discussion because you said I could. How come I can't get 2 hours of personal tutoring Thursday night at 10 o'clock at night? And the answer is, I'm not going to give you personal tutoring Thursday night at 10 o'clock at night because I'm playing hockey Thursday night at 10 o'clock at night. So you have to take responsibility. How many times have I said that already in this exam? Here is the course outline. It really is broken into thirds. The first third is answering the question, what is a Django application? I have this big picture document, which you'll see way too many times in the class. And the idea is that we have to get to the point, because a Django application is in a bunch of different little files and they all work together like a bunch of puzzle pieces. And you got to figure out how the puzzle pieces fit together. And that's what the first third of the class is. The first third has a lot of tutorials that you read and do what the tutorial is telling you. So it has a lot of scaffolding. But that's because I want to go through it really quick, and then I want to pull all those ideas together. Then in the middle of the class, you're starting to do more things on your own. And less scaffolding, less code sometimes, but more read sample code, figure out what it does, make changes to the sample code. And then in the last half of the class, we actually build an application. And that again is, here's some instructions, not like a click for click instruction, but instead, this is like, read this code, see what it does. I give you a video that tells you what it does, and then adapt that code with some changes to your application. And that begins to be like your real world experience, because we're always looking at Stack Overflow and grabbing code. We're always using AI to grab code. But if we don't know what we're doing, that's the problem. So that's the basic outline. Grades in this class are very high. I set it up because it's a competency class to let you achieve 100% on just about everything. The assignments, you can take them over and over as long as you do them on time. You can work on them until you have 100%, and when you're done, you know you have 100%. Same for quiz. You can take them, I think it's 3 times, and then hopefully by then you've got 100%. Quizzes are driven from the lectures. Final exam, unlimited number of redos. So you'll get 100%, you'll know, and then you'll be done. Students get less than 100%. The midterm is one of the more difficult parts of the class, but students who get less than desirable scores are usually almost certainly because they fell behind or they did work without watching the lectures. So they do the homework and they're like, ooh, I will catch up later. And then that never happens. That's not because students are bad. That's because students are busy. And so this is where you can't just delay, because the future is just as 2 weeks from now is just as busy as this week. So you're thinking that like, oh, I'll do that later. You don't. Do it while we're here. There's a straight scale from the syllabus. Because it's so easy to get 100% in this class, 100% is an A, not an A+. 80% of the students get an A in this class, and then those students below an A, usually the ones that fell behind because they used too much AI or whatever. A+s are rare. The GSIs decide who gets A+s for extraordinary work. So let's take a look at the systems that we're going to be using and doing our homework in, etc. So everything in this class, like every class at University of Michigan, starts in Canvas and ends in Canvas. The difference between my class and other classes is that the content is actually not in modules. The content is in this thing I call Sakai Plus. And you launch into Sakai Plus. But all your grades will come back here, and eventually the syllabus, and you'll see that the due dates and everything are here in Canvas. You don't get that. You don't need to do the due dates in Sakai, but you do watch the lectures and do the homework in Sakai. So this is a system. I run this system, and it has a bunch of stuff in it. And as the weeks progress, I'll be adding week 2, week 3, week 4. The course overview. This has this how am I doing, which I'll talk about in a bit. The required viewing, which I've already talked about. These are the links. There'll be YouTube videos, but you got to watch them from these links, because when you watch them from these links, then the grades go back to Sakai and the grades go back to Canvas. If you're going in Canvas and you check your grades and you don't have any grades, that's because you're doing something that's not communicating correctly all the way back. So here's a couple of them. I don't exactly know how long this first lecture is. I got to change the order of those. I'll fix that in a minute. I don't know how long it is because I'm taping it right now. But each week you're going to have some new information. The first week, the topic is how to install Django on Python Anywhere. So you're going to get a free account on Python Anywhere, and I walk you through some lectures. The lectures, I got 30 minutes of lectures, just smart to walk through. First lecture is how to install, which is 20 minutes. This next lecture is 9 minutes. It's how to use the autograder. And then I have some assignments and some reference, and then the quiz, and then the autograder. So like just an example, the autograder is a piece of code that I wrote that reads your application. And so this is telling you what you're supposed to do. Here's the assignment. And I have a sample one that I wrote that's running at this website, djtutorial.djfree.com. And if, not that, my copy didn't work. So this is an application. It's running on Python Anywhere. It says hello world, and it's wrong. But then what happens is when I evaluate that, it runs and retrieves the web page, right? And sometimes you have errors, and it's looking for something. In this case, it was looking for 2BBAF, and it didn't find it, so you didn't get a score. And so this is a one-step autograder because we're at the beginning, and I'm keeping it really, really simple. But basically, you can rerun this on a single click over and over. Now, in this case, I didn't change anything, so I need to fix that. And so you'll see that I've got 3 tabs. I've got Canvas, which launched Sakai, and then Sakai that launched this DJ Free website that contains the autograders. Don't log in directly to either Sakai or DJ Free to do your homework, because these grades get sent back from DJ to E Free to Sakai back to Canvas. So you'll end up with a lot of tabs. And then if you look, the next topic after you get done with that is you got to do an HTML. Now, if you know HTML, you probably don't even need to watch these lectures. If you don't, I made the shortest possible HTML lectures I possibly could, and it adds up to 34 minutes. So in the first, you got just about an hour of lecture. So just watch them, right? Just take an hour and watch them. If you watch them at 1.25, it's less than an hour. And again, you'll see a quiz and an autograder, an assignment, etc., etc., etc. So the course content, required viewing, and each of the weeks will start appearing here. And this is where you'll take the course mostly, but this will send your grades. You don't have a grade book in this system. You'll notice there's no grade book here, because the gradebook is in Canvas just like every one of your other classes. Okay? So now on to some technical bits about the course. I mentioned that in this first week you are going to learn to run code in Python Anywhere. Python Anywhere is a commercial hosting company that hosts people with Django and Flask online. They have free accounts. You're going to use the free account. These are really good folks. I've been working with them, I think, 4 or 5 years now, and we send thousands of students from Coursera, from U of M, and they're very helpful in tech support, and they don't annoy my students, right? You can have this free account forever. The only thing that they do is they ask that every 3 months you extend it for the next 3 months. And if you forget to extend it, they'll send you an email and they'll say, hey, extend it. And then you log it in and extend it. You got it for three months. That's all they annoy you. There's no attempt to upgrade you to a pay account. If you want your own domain, etc., then you can pay as little as $5 a month, and you can figure that out. But these are good folks, and I really feel good working with these people. So this course is been written for a while, over every version of Django from 2.1 to currently 4.2 and soon 5.0, and Python is changing as well over that time frame. And one of the cool features that I'm a little late to adopt new features because I want this to run on a range of Python versions, but Python type hinting has been in Python since 3.5. And so Python is a typeless language, but there is a way to hint with types. Languages like Java and C are all typed. Python is typeless. But you can put what's called a type hint. It doesn't change what you can do, but it does tell the reader of the code and the compiler what it is expected. So if you look at this def hello, which is the simplest view for that first assignment, it takes a parameter that by convention I call REQ because it's a HTTP request. So you can either just say REQ is my first parameter and know that it's an HTTP request, or you can say REQ : HTTP request, and then you can document that it's an HTTP request. And an HTTP request is an object definition that's from Django. And so this basically, the second version of this says, hey, this is a hello function. It takes one parameter of type HTTP request, and its expected return value is an HTTP response. You'll note that throughout the class I switch back and forth between these two syntaxes. I tend at the beginning to use the more explicit syntax because it just, I think, makes it a little easier to remember what those parameters are coming in and coming out as you go through the class. Another issue, because a lot of you are pretty cool when it comes to your laptops, is you have browsers that are weird because you probably use this browser for your personal life and for your work life, your school life. And so in doing that, you probably installed a bunch of ad blockers or spyware blockers or cookie blockers or JavaScript blockers, whatever it is. Someone said, oh, well, you can watch the Red Wings without ads if you put this code in. So you put the code in. The problem is a lot of those things will break the auto graders in this course. And so it's okay. You can turn them off or just use another browser. So just be on the lookout for really weird errors that are about unable to open page or something like that. And just be aware that you may have to switch browsers once in a while for this course. I kind of passed briefly over the notion in Sakai, the course overview. There's this link called How Am I Doing? And what this is this is an anonymous rank. And I think of it as health, right? This is not points. You don't get graded on this, but it is your anonymous rank in the class. And the way it works is there's many ways you can get a perfect score on an assignment. You can start early and finish quickly. You can start early and work, try because you're not sure what you're doing and take a long time to finish. Or you can start late and finish on time, or you can start late and finish late. And this is trying to measure sort of like what I think of as the most responsible way to approach this course. And then it ranks you. It doesn't tell you what the other students are getting, but it tells you that maybe you're above average, maybe you're below average, maybe you're in trouble. And you can check this anytime you want, or you can ignore it completely because it doesn't affect your grade. It's like in the video where you have health and then you have gold. Gold is the thing that sort of is wins, but health makes it so you can handle damage better. And that's how I think of this health, is if you are taking this course in a healthy way and you got some problem, you can handle the problem better if you've been healthy all along. I'm also interested in plagiarism, and I try to build a course that you don't have to feel so much pressure that the only solution is plagiarism. You will feel stress at times, but that stress is, I'm trying to make that as measured as I possibly can. In the name of plagiarism, I do not share your data with third parties. Things like Turnitin or the Berkeley auto grader, sending your stuff like to the outside world and evaluating it. Everything that I do other than Python Anywhere is stored in a University of Michigan server and is my software. And so I have my own little plagiarism checker, and it's not going to catch if people help you. It's not a similarity thing. It just checks if you say, hey, could you give me your code? And then you start taking that person's code. That's what it's checking for. So AI is something we have to talk about these days. It's been 2 years. Large language models came out late 22, and students started using them in winter 23, and we were like, whoa, this is different. And so we actually had some sort of, not emergency, but like urgent faculty meetings to figure out what our thoughts were, just to talk to each other and help each other out. And we quickly came to a quick agreement that we're not going to prohibit AI. We got to use it. We got to figure out how to teach it and how to help you use it. And so it's, but then we were afraid that all the assignments would need to be adjusted. And so for 3 semesters, fall 23 through fall 24, I adjusted this class to kind of like compensate for AI. And it had mixed results. And what I figured out was I can't stop students irresponsibly using AI, so I might as well stop adjusting the course. And I'm kind of, now in this class, this semester, I'm just treating AI like Stack Overflow. People have been searching and using things like Stack Overflow forever, and I like AI just, to me, is another better version of all that stuff, which is cool. And that's because AI has its benefits. Honestly, if you're going to be a professional programmer, the better you use AI, the better programmer you're going to be. And I want you to learn to use it. You might have things go well, and that's great, because that's learning to use AI better, and it might go bad. The problem is everyone thinks that AI is a substitute for learning. Using AI does not mean that you don't need to learn, whether it's this class or a job. And if you end up in a C in this class because you misuse AI, well, that teaches you something. That teaches you can't go in the real world and just lean on AI. Because if they could lean on AI, they wouldn't hire you. They're going to still need to hire you, and they want you to be able to use AI. In a course, it's worse than in a job. Because in the first part of the course, the assignments are often easy to get you easy wins. And AI is good at those early, easy assignments. And so if you use AI to avoid studying or learning in the first few weeks of class, it's particularly perilous. But sadly, it's also particularly tempting. So let me tell you why it's so bad. My job is to get you to a skill level in 15 weeks that is a certain amount of knowledge. And so if I could give that to you in a USB stick in 30 seconds, I would. I'm not just being mean here. It's not possible. And I'll tell you what, I see students at the end of the course, I talk to them in office hours, and you all, at the end of this course, if you've done the work and kept up, you amaze me. You impress me. And those who are even using AI impress me even more, because you're mastering the material, you're mastering how to use AI to be more efficient, and that's like, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of what we do. The problem is I got to figure out how to get you from knowing nothing to being awesome in 15 weeks. So the thing that I do in this course design, and it may look like it's just a bunch of random crap, but I think about this a lot. I think about this through a model that's called the zone of proximal development. And the idea is that the zone of proximal development is at each moment you have a certain number of things that you know and a certain number of things that you're learning. And there is struggle in between those two things. And the key thing is to make the zone of proximal learning not too big and not too small. If it's too small, you don't learn anything. If it's too big, you fail and you don't learn anything. So I got to put it so that you can make the step. I want you to make the step. Maybe with a little bit of help, but you learn when you make the step. And again, by nature, I make the first few assignments easier because you don't know anything. And so I got to get the first few pieces, but then I can build on those pieces. And that's why learning's important in the first few weeks of the class. But AI is there. And if I make the assignments in the first few weeks of the class easy, because I want you to succeed, and I want you to struggle a little bit, and I want you to struggle too much, and so I keep them easy. And I'm not going to change that. I'm not going to make those assignments miserably difficult. They're not trivial. They're easy, but not trivial. And they're not miserably difficult because I want you to succeed and I want you to grow and I want your knowledge to increase. The problem is those easy classes in the first third of the easy weeks in the first third of the class, AI is pretty good at them because I just kind of hand it to you on a platter and I want you to read it. I want you to understand what you read, and then I kind of guide you through what you want to do. AI can read. It's pretty good at that. It knows Python, pretty good at that. It knows Django, pretty good at that. So all these things are like trivial hello world kind of stuff, and AI is great. The problem is at some point in the class, I just picked the 6-week, AI kind of runs out of the ability to just have you paste in the assignment and do the majority of the work. And so now you got a problem. Because if you have been tempted and yielding to the temptation and letting AI do the first 5 weeks of the class, you're not making AI any smarter, believe me. AI is smart enough to do week 1, it's smart enough to do week 5. And if you're not learning anything, when AI is not smart enough to do week 6, then it's on you. Except you have lost the opportunity for 5 weeks of learning. And the difference between week 5 and week 6 is small. But the difference between not knowing anything in week 6 is gigantic. And if you did this because you're a weak programmer or you don't have time to study, well, guess what? It's not going to get any better in week 6. And you're not going to be able to stay up all night for 3 or 4 days and learn all the stuff that happened weeks 1 through 5. If you know enough, well, it's easy to keep up. You do the homework. You don't even need AI at that point. But if you're weak and you're having trouble and you use AI to compensate, to avoid understanding, but get points, and then what I find is, and I don't have data to support this yet, but I'm trying to look at when a student struggles for the first time in a semester, what happens in the next few weeks. And my theory is students that use AI tend to tumble down faster and further to end up with like a C in the course or even have to drop the course or take it incomplete. And so the problem is that you're going to find this place where you just can't get any further because you didn't do the pre-work. Don't just rush to the early assignments and just bash them without studying, but using AI instead. I try to limit the amount of videos that you should watch to just an hour and a half. I don't have 20 hours of video. I could. I don't. I'm trying to make it so that each week is something you can do during that week among the other 4 classes that you've got. Watch the lectures first so that you have an outline before you go staring at the assignments. You don't have to stop them. You don't have to take notes on every slide. If you like doing that, go ahead. But, at least watch the lectures, even if you watch them at fast speed. And I'll try to tell you each week which lectures are more important. I already kind of did that for this next week. Don't be impatient. If you feel stretched a little bit, understand that that's on purpose. but it's also on purpose that the stretches are not impossible, that there are things I've challenged you that I'm very confident that you can achieve. Okay? So use AI. I'm not saying not to use it, but don't have AI do the work for you. With that, I am very, very concerned about students' health and well-being. Again, I remember what it was like to be a student. I remember time management. I remember how much fun it was to play pinball. That's what we did back in the day. And so I understand that things can be challenging, family issues, sickness, illness, all those things happen. And I'll just tell you this, the simple answer is your health and well-being is more important than your grade in this class. And we have many sources of help, whether it's me or our staff or university staff. Make sure if you have trouble, you reach out for help. And we'll figure out this course. We face lots of little issues, and we always find a way through them. And so feel free to contact me first if you don't know where to go next. But we will figure things out and make sure that you're well taken care of. So as you've kind of figured out, I'm doing things a little different than other professors because I'm experimenting with my own technology. Things might break. Because it's my stuff, I take it very personal if my stuff breaks. If you think I've got a really weird traceback, take a screenshot, send it to me. My GSIs all have my cell phone. I want to know quick because if something's broken and I can fix it in 5 minutes, often I can, then I don't have like 40 people running into it. So if the first person I really appreciate people who start working on Friday as soon as I release the next assignments and they make it through it. I'm like, whew, those assignments worked. But if things go wrong, I'm going to be transparent. I'll adjust grades, I'll adjust assignments, I'll adjust due dates, whatever. If it's my fault, I will overcompensate to make sure that you're not negatively impacted by something that turns out to be my fault or my server's fault. So if you have any questions on all this stuff, you can send me email, or you can come to my Zoom on Friday, or even come in person. I hope all 300 of you don't come at the same time, but it never happens that way because it's a Friday and it's cold and blowy, and so most people wear their jammies and come to course on Zoom. So welcome to the course. We'll have one of these every week. This one is a little longer than most, but they'll be a little shorter starting next week. Cheers.